Okay, let's unpack this. We've got quite a stack of sources here detailing this pretty radical, completely unplanned motorcycle journey.
Right, through the Himalayas.
Yeah, a rogue 2-week detour, really. Over 1,000 kilometers on some seriously challenging roads in Nepal. Beautiful, yes, but also chaotic.
Absolutely. And this whole thing, it seems, it just blew up months of careful planning based on a snap.
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? The tension we're diving into.
Exactly. Because the listener's original plan, it was all super practical.
Fly the bike out of Kathmandu, get it to Dubai, then the long ride back to the UK, aiming for Christmas at home. Simple enough, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But the sources, they make it clear that itinerary got completely tossed out. Why? Powerful gut feeling.
A gut feeling that changes everything.
It really did. That feeling, plus the arrival of a new bike, sent him straight into the high mountains instead. So this deep dive, it's really about what happens physically, mentally, when you ditch the map for the dream.
And the sort of surprising mix of challenges that pop up.
Yeah.
Logistical hurdles, cultural encounters, and as we'll see, some pretty serious medical stuff too, when you, commit to the chaos.
Yeah, the chaos is key.
And we definitely need to talk about the bike, the enabler, you could say, Henry the Himmy.
Ah, yes. Henry, the new companion.
A 450cc Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now, just for context, that's 4 times the power, roughly double the weight of the bike even.
Which was already a trusty steed, got him across Asia.
Right, so this wasn't just a small upgrade. This was a serious commit, a signal he was ready to tackle the really tough stuff Nepal throws at you.
He joked about it, didn't he? Calling it cheating on the wife, meaning the old bike.
He did, but Henry, this new machine, was basically the key. It unlocked this whole unplanned mountain adventure.
And that change in bike, it's fundamental. It really shifted what was possible. Down in the lowlands, maybe that extra weight is just a bit of a pain. But up high, on those technical off-road bits, that 450 power, the better suspend. That's for the steep climbs, the loose rocks, the river crossing. It really was the right tool for the job. A bike built for the Himalayas, exploring.
Makes sense.
So our mission today really is to dig into this documented tension. On one hand, this deep, almost spiritual desire for peace, for solitude in remote nature.
Finding that quiet place.
Exactly. But set against, the unavoidable, often grinding chaos of high-altitude travel. Think extreme traffic, sudden illness, logistical nightmares, even unexpected fame.
It's like the search for silence actually cranked up the volume.
Precise, generated its own kind of mayhem.
Okay, so before Henry the Himmy got its big test up in the mountains, the sources talk about this really important period, grounding himself culturally down in the lowlands.
Yeah, that seems crucial. He spent the weeks before celebrating Dosai.
Which is a huge festival in Nepal, right?
Yeah.
The sources say it's kind of like Christmas in its importance.
That's a good comparison. And this immersion, it wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was in it. Invited into homes, 2 different families.
Wow.
Treated with incredible warmth. Got blessings, shared meals, celebrated with, what did the sources call it? Cookery rum?
Huh. Yeah, cookery rum. Sounds intriguing.
It does. But the point is, this wasn't just a quick hello. This deep acceptance, this Nepali hospitality, it seems like it really boosted his spirits, built up some morale.
Kind of set a baseline of trust, maybe, for the people he'd meet later.
I think so. A powerful precedent. And he was definitely going to need that morale.
Because that first big ride, Kathmandu to Pokhara, about 200 kilometers, it sounds like a real ordeal.
A baptism by fire, as you said. We're talking choked, 2-lane main road, black smoke belching from trucks and buses, constant dust, just endless commercial traffic.
He mentioned wearing a white shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake. Said it was ruined, almost caked in dust, exhaust, road grime. It paints a picture. Sensory overload, horns blaring, weaving through traffic, breathing that gritty air, infrastructure just straining.
Exhausting, just think.
Absolutely. That initial stretch, it really highlights the raw reality of travel there. Even on the main roads, physically demanding.
But even in that chaos, something interesting happened culturally.
Right, the paradox. He stops somewhere small, needs the rest, and the locals just tell him, yeah, leave your helmet, leave your camera outside, it's fine.
That level of trust. He noted, in many places, leaving expensive gear like that, unthinkable.
Totally. But here he felt this sense of security, and then, even more striking, people refusing payment for tea.
Because they recognized.
Apparently so. They just insisted we should respect our guest. It wasn't just being nice. It felt like a cultural principle.
That's a stark contrast, isn't it? The road chaos versus this genuine, immediate respect.
A huge contrast. And it feels like that positive energy, that cultural connection, maybe fueled what he did in Ankara.
Which was?
Seeking out inspiration, mental prep at the source of some legendary endurance.
The Gurkhas.
Exactly. Pokhara is famous. It's the biggest recruitment center for the Gurkhas. The sources mention they're mainly drawn tribe, Gurung, Rai, Lim.
And his visit to the Gurkha Memorial, it wasn't just a quick look around.
No, Duff spent nearly 2 hours there, really absorbing the history, trying to understand the sheer intensity required, physical, mental, off the charts.
The sources mention the training weight they carry.
Yeah, these huge, heavy packs. And the kinds of operations demand just absolute endurance, way beyond
Stories, the anecdotes he picked up, they sound intense.
They really are. They give you the emotional weight of it all. And you can see how they'd resonate, right? Especially thinking about the potentially dangerous solo.
Like the soldier shot through both follicles back in the 1800s.
Yeah. And he just kept playing his instrument, didn't collapse. That level of stoicism, it's almost unbelievable. Superhuman.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one, a wounded soldier himself going into enemy territory. Under fire, under barbed wire.
To save his comrades.
To save 3 of them, carried them back on his shoulders, risking everything. These aren't just war stories. They're like deep dives into the power of will, enduring physical agony because the mind just refuses to quit.
You can see why that would be inspiring before a tough trip.
Absolutely. This context, it's critical for the rest of the journey. And that quote he took away from the memorial, it clearly hit deep.
The one about fear.
If a man says he's not afraid of dying, he is either lying or he is a Gurkha. He internalized that.
So the upcoming ride, the challenges, it wasn't just about getting from A to B anymore.
No. It became something else. After spending 2 hours soaking in the Gurkha ethos, it's like he filled up a mental fuel for endurance. The difficult motorcycle trip transformed right then into a personal quest, a test of his own endurance.
Okay, so moving on from Pokhara, heading higher. But it sounds like the start wasn't exactly smooth sailing.
Not quite the inspiring launch you might hope for, no. The sources mention an immediate snag, a delay, waiting for the Gurkha Museum to actually open.
Logistics. Always the logistics.
Right. So that meant a late start. And then to make things worse, torrential rain hits on the way to Kushma. Just unexpected heavy rain.
Cutting into riding time, making things harder. Frustrating.
Definitely frustrating setbacks. But interestingly, despite that rocky start, the traveler notes this was the day Nepal really started to show it.
Finally leaving the lowland chaos behind.
Exactly. Moving into that lush, dramatic landscape Nepal is famous for, but here comes another complication, an unexpected side effect of his online presence.
The paradox of fame.
You got it. Suddenly he's being stopped constantly for selfies.
Even out there, getting more remote.
Apparently so. People recognize. And the sources say it forced him to get more strict about stopping. He realized if he stopped for everyone, he'd never actually get anywhere. The ride would just dissolve.
That's a tough one for adventure documentarians, isn't it? You share the beauty, people connect. Then that connection interrupts the very experience you're trying to have.
It's a real tension. The act of documenting the authenticity can kind of puncture the authenticity itself. You become the focus, not the place.
The creator becomes the attraction.
Yeah. And we see that dynamic play out really clearly when he was looking for somewhere to stay near Kushma.
Right. He'd ridden up some track hoping for a great view, a sunset spot.
And found nothing. Literally no guest house up there.
So he had to ride back down in the dark.
In the pitch black. On unknown terrain, tired from the day, just to find a bed for the night. Not ideal.
Sounds pretty rough.
That difficult descent eventually led him to a place called Hotel Ben. It's a simple spot.
Okay.
And this is where a really interesting decision happened about sticking to the mission.
What was that?
The sources say he got an offer to stay at a nearby resort, much fancier, presumably more comfortable.
Tempting, especially after riding down a mountain in the dark.
Very tempting. But the offer came with strings attached. They wanted video content, bungee jumping foot, tours of the hotel, shots of the swimming pool, that kind of thing.
Ah, a sponsored content deal, basically.
Exactly. And he consciously turned it down.
Now, let's just pause on that because, long-term travel is expensive, logistically demanding. A free, comfy stay, guaranteed content. That's gold for many creators.
It is, but he rejected it. Specifically, the sources say, to maintain creative control, to keep the content OG original, authentic, not shaped by commercial asks.
He didn't want his channel to just become resort ads.
Pretty much, and that decision, it really reinforces that core theme we're tracking. He chose integrity, the genuine experience, over comfort and easy money.
A willingness to sacrifice for the sake of the journey's purity.
And that choice, it led him almost immediately into the next big physical test, the really grueling part.
The climb to Lower Mustang.
Yeah. Over 2,500 meters of ascent, a massive climb. This is where Henry the Himmy had to step up.
Earning that nickname his dad gave, the mountain goat.
Totally. Let's just think about the technical side for a second. Climbing 2,500 meters, that's serious work for any bike, even a capable one like the Himalayan.
And the altitude factor.
Right. Thinner air means less engine power. Noticeably less. So you need that 450cc grunt just to fight gravity, especially when the road turns to junk. Loose rock, deep gravel.
Requires total focus.
Hyper alert. The sources mention these high suspension bridges. The kind that make your hairs stand on very edge. One moment of distraction looking at the view, and it could be game over.
So a huge physical commitment and the roads themselves.
Oh, the logistical reality hit hard there. These weren't quiet mountain paths. They were packed.
With what?
Big buses, slow lorries grinding uphill, tons of other motorbikes, all sharing these tiny roads, often right on the edge of a sheer drop.
Plus the natural hazard.
Always there. Flash flood, recent landslides blocking the way, the risk of avalanches higher up. The road itself is just relentless physical, psychological, constant pressure.
So the chaos wasn't just like background noise. It was active danger.
Exactly, demanding maximum focus. So after somehow surviving that climb, that relentless ascent, he finally makes it to Joms, which she called Jay kind of jokingly.
Feeling pretty wiped out, I imagine.
Completely depleted, running on empty, or as he put it, low on human petrol.
Time to refuel the rider, not just the bike.
Precisely. So he immediately goes looking for real local food, something authentic to get the energy back.
And this is where we get some cool culinary details, right? Reminds you that connection often comes through food.
He finds sampa, which is also called puso or sat.
What is that exactly?
It's basically roasted barley or wheat flour. You mix it with tea or water. Super dense, calorie rich. He called it pure petrol for the human body. The ultimate mountain survival. Just
simple but effective.
Very. But then came the real highlight. It's the famous Mustang apples.
Ah, yes, I've heard of those. Supposed to be amazing.
Apparently they are. Not just the apples themselves, but how they're served. Locally sourced, often with special mountain spices.
He mentioned one specifically.
Yeah, mountain pepper. Called Timor. He described it brilliant, said it's like a spicy chat masala. Gives this unique flavor, kind of citrusy, a bit tingly, or mouth.
Wow, that sounds incredible with a crisp apple.
Doesn't it? It's exactly those little unexpected, authentic flavor moments that really make a trip genuine.
Okay, so that's the authentic, rewarding side. But then he went looking for a specific landmark.
Right. Contrast that apple experience with the next stop. He decided to do this difficult off-road side trip to find Dumbo Lake.
Required crossing a sketchy bridge, tackling steep rocks, Henry the Himmy terrain.
Exactly what the bike was for, but the destination itself,
a letdown.
A huge letdown. He called it wildly disappointing.
Oh dear, after all that effort.
Not only was the lake itself just underwhelming visually, but then someone tried to charge him an entry fee.
And his reaction?
Immediate refusal. No way I'm paying entry for that. Hell no. The effort just didn't match the payoff, especially a manufactured payoff like an entry.
And that disappointment, it seems like it sparked something, a change in approach.
A really significant shift in philosophy, yeah. What's fascinating here is he explicitly rejects the whole idea of relying on magazines, travel guides, popular recommendations.
Why?
His argument was those places inevitably get ruined. As soon as they become famous, they get over-touristed, commercialized, lose their magic.
So what's the alternative?
The complete opposite. Pick a random, unmarked track on a satellite. Just go. Intentionally get a bit lost. Find your own spot.
Like the river he mentioned.
Exactly. He found peace just lying next to some random, unnamed river, no people, no signs, no ticket booth. Said it was infinitely more restorative than the crowded, ticketed lake.
It's a bold strategy, though. High risk, high reward, relying on getting lost in the Himalayas.
It is bold, and it brings up a really important question, maybe for you listening too. What do you make of that approach? Is it sensible, given the real dangers, the cliffs, avalanches, getting stranded is basing a huge trip on getting lost, wrecked?
Or is that risk, that pain maybe, just the price you have to pay for finding something truly authentic, something uncurated?
That's the dilemma. But you know, his new philosophy immediately seemed to work for him.
How so?
Near Kakbeni, instead of looking at a map, looked up at the cliff, and he spotted them.
The Mustang Cave.
Yeah, this incredible natural site. Huge concentration of these caves eroded into the cliff face over centuries. Pretty awe-inspiring.
And there's history there too, right? Some dark, maybe?
The sources touch on it, rumors and links to ancient Tibetan Buddhist practices, sky burials possibly, where remains were placed high in the mountains, maybe in...
Archaeologists have found stuff nearby.
Yeah. Mummified remains, thousands of years old, found in similar cave systems. Powerful sense, deep, quiet. And he found it just by looking away from the tourist trail. So the final stop in Lower Mustang, Mentanat. It's a really sacred place, famous for its temple. People go there for a specific ritual, a spiritual cleanse.
Right. And our traveler, despite running a channel literally called We Hate the Cold, decided he had to do it.
He did. Faced his fear head on. The ritual involves a cold shower, a series of freezing cold water spouts. He went for it.
And this is where things take a turn, from adventure to injury.
Precise. Right in the middle of this freezing ritual shower, he slipped, hits his head hard on one of the taps.
Ouch, badly.
Immediate significant bleeding, and instant concern about concussion. Serious whack.
But the chaos around him didn't stop.
Not at all, which makes the situation incredibly surreal. He's bleeding, worried about his head, trying to get dressed in the cold.
And people are asking for photos.
Yeah, people recognized him, started queuing up, wanting pictures while he's dealing with a bleeding head wound. He talked about the absurdity trying to manage conversations, camera angles, while genuinely wondering if he needed urgent medical.
That's that collision again. The search for authenticity, the burden of recognition, all crashing together, literally.
Literally. So the bleeding head meant a clinic visit was essential, straight away.
For tetanus shot. Just in case.
Exactly. A prophylactic tetanus vaccine, which he amusingly noted down as a tightless vaccine. And the clinician there recognized him as a content creator, offered the jab for free, waived a small fee, about 200 rupees.
Nice gesture.
Very. But importantly, at the time, the traveler mentally flagged this head injury and the vaccine right after it as the likely cause of the illness that was about him.
Setting up a red herring for himself.
Unknowingly, yes. Confusing the timeline.
Okay, so head injury dealt with, sort of. What happened next? Another fatal act.
That's what we're calling near catastrophe. The next day brought a potential financial disaster.
What was that?
He'd pushed on, venturing into really remote areas near Upper Mustang, ignoring warnings, actually, about possible Chinese military presence. Seems the warnings kind of spurred him on.
Risk taker.
Definitely. And somewhere out there, he lost it.
Oh, no. Out there. That's
catastrophic potential. No ID, no cards, no cash, miles from anywhere, trip over, major international panics.
Did he find it?
Luckily, yes. After about an hour of frantic searching, retracing his route at high altitude near a stupa, a Buddhist shrine.
Wow, close call. Stark reminder of the risks of that uncurated path.
Absolutely. One wrong move, one moment of carelessness, and it's all over.
But that urge to push boundaries, to connect with really remote places, it didn't stop.
Not at all. We see it again when he stopped in this village, Santa Mustang, extremely remote, right on the edge of Upper Mustang proper.
And he bought an apple there.
A single apple for $100, which he acknowledged was the most expensive apple ever.
But he was okay with that.
He saw it as more than just buying an apple. It was an authentic connection, a small way to support this incredibly remote community. He valued that moment, that interaction, more than the money. Authenticity over cost.
Okay, so the head injury, the tetanus shot, and then 3 days later, the illness really hits.
Hits hard. He wakes up, horrible fever, spiking temperature, really dizzy, head spinning, just feels awful.
And his first thought goes back to the head injury.
Naturally, is this concussion, a delayed reaction, or maybe a bad reaction to the tetanus jab? Those were the obvious culprits.
And it wasn't mild.
Not at all. It completely floored him. He was basically bedridden for 5 days straight, incapacitated, only managing to wake up for tiny bits of food toast, soup. The weakness sounds profound, crippling.
And the first attempt at medical help didn't clarify.
No, it actually added to the confusion. He managed to get help from a local family, got to a local hospital. The doctor there diagnosed a throat
infection.
Yeah. Treated him for tonsils, sore throat. And critically, the blood test they did at that point showed, quote, no other infections ongoing.
So wrong diagnosis. Understandable maybe. Fever and weakness are pretty general.
True. But the treatment obviously didn't work. The symptoms continued, even got worse. This weird, fuzzy face feeling he described, extreme dizziness that wouldn't quit, and this deep, dull ache in his stomach.
Like needing to be sick but couldn't.
Exactly. Feeling nauseous, but nothing happening. Just this horrible, persistent discomfort on top of the fever and weakness.
So he realized this wasn't just a throat thing.
He knew something else was wrong, something the first hospital missed. He had to get to better care, so he gathered up whatever strength he had left.
And rode his bike while sick.
Made the difficult drive, sick as he was, down to a proper hospital in Pokhara. A huge effort in that.
And there, figured it out.
Finally, the test came back, and the results revealed the real culprit. Dengue fever. Dengue.
Dengue. Wow. After avoiding it for 2 years, traveling all over Asia.
Yep. All that time in endemic areas, managed to dodge it, then gets it high in the Himalayas. Incredible iron.
So that diagnosis explained everything.
Suddenly, it all clicked into place. Dengue, often called breakbone fever for the pain it caused, perfectly explained the high fever, the extreme weakness, the dizziness that felt like concussion, fuzzy face, even the stomach.
And the moments of general stupidity he mentioned, like losing his keys.
That too. Dengue can cause fatigue and brain fog, so misplacing things, feeling confused, totally consistent, the head injury, the tetanus shot, just bad timing. Unfortunate coincidences that sent him down the wrong path looking for.
Thank goodness they weren't the cause, though.
But dengue itself, he described it as just the most annoying disease ever. Not necessarily life-threatening for him, thankfully, but just horrible. Debilitating enough to completely shut down the adventure. Crushed his energy, his ability to function.
Forced stop.
Total forced stop. But even in the middle of all that suffering, he found something interesting. Gratitude.
Gratitude for Dengue.
Not for Dengue itself, but for the whole chaotic experience. He mentioned that final drive back to Kathmandu, feeling incredibly weak and sick, but needing to focus intensely just to stay on the bike, stay safe. That focus was almost meditative.
Interesting.
And reflecting on it all, he offered this deep gratitude for the obstacle. Said they are what make the trip the trip. His final thought wasn't bitterness, but a wish for peace and happiness for everyone.
With a caveat.
With a very important caveat, minus the dengue.
Fair enough. So what's the big takeaway from this whole saga? The unplanned adventure didn't really end with a triumphant finish line.
No, it ended with sickness, an unexpected diagnosis that brought everything screeching to a halt. And the sources are clear. Lying in that sickbed, one single powerful desire emerged from all the chaos, from his heart, his gut.
What was it?
The overwhelming need to just go home. So wrapping this deep dive up, it's really given us this incredibly vivid picture, hasn't it? The true cost, you could say, of seeking out that really authentic exploration.
Yeah, we've seen the extreme, the amazing generosity of the Nepali people, that deep cultural warmth.
Set against the brutal physical reality, the sheer toll of riding an adventure bike over 1,000 kilometers of high-altitude chaos, roads, traffic, weather.
And that constant tension, trying to maintain creative integrity, keep it OG, while battling the side effects of being recognized, alongside just trying to find genuine peace.
That search for uncurated peace in the midst of curated demands.
And that unplanned detour, those 2 weeks in the mountains, they ate up critical time.
Huge amount of time. Leaving him back in Kathmandu, sick, weakened, but with this massive new deadline looming.
50 days to cross 7,000 kilometers to get home for Christmas.
That is an absolutely monumental task, especially starting from a point of physical depletion. Okay, really daunting.
And the irony just hangs there, doesn't it, throughout the journey.
It's inescapable. The sources show it again and again. The best bits, the most rewarding moments, those spicy Mustang apples, the genuine human connections where no money changed hands, that incredible peace by the random river.
All found off the map.
Yeah.
By choosing the messy, risky path.
Exactly. Whereas the official spots, the recommended landmarks, the places with entry fees, they often led to disappointment or, in the case of the temple shower, actual injury.
Which leaves us with that final question, that provocative thought to chew on.
Yeah. The traveler actively sought the authentic, rejected the curated. We saw that clearly. But does pursuing that kind of pure, uncurated adventure, does it inevitably mean inviting greater risk, more isolation, like getting seriously ill alone at 3,400 meters?
Is that level of chaos, that potential danger, simply the unavoidable price you pay, the fundamental cost of entry for finding that deep, true, maybe even life-changing personal discovery?
Is the chaos the price, or is it part of the discovery itself? That's something for you to think about, maybe as you plan your own next adventure, or even just your commute tomorrow.